When you think of global technology, you might picture Silicon Valley, Taiwan, or South Korea. But, few people realize that a quiet revolution is happening in the Philippines. A country once known mainly for its beaches and call centers is now rising as a key player in one of the most advanced industries in the world, semiconductors. These tiny chips are the brains of modern technology. They power everything from smartphones and cars to satellites and medical devices. And today, the Philippines is becoming one of the most important countries helping the world keep them running. This is the story of how the Philippines turned its industrial know-how, resilience, and global partnerships into a billion-dollar semiconductor boom. Let's start with the basics. Semiconductors are microscopic circuits that control how electricity moves through electronic devices. Without them, your phone would be a piece of glass, your car would not start, and your computer would be useless. They are made mostly of silicon, which is why the global tech center in California is called Silicon Valley. But the process of making semiconductors involves hundreds of steps and requires precision, purity, and enormous coordination. No single country produces semiconductors entirely on its own anymore. The industry is global. Chips may be designed in the United States, fabricated in Taiwan, packaged in the Philippines, and then assembled in China or Malaysia. And that is where the Philippines comes in. The Philippines is not new to the semiconductor world. For more than 40 years, it has been a reliable hub for assembly, testing, and packaging. These are the crucial final stages of chip production, where wafers are cut, sealed, and prepared for shipment. Back in the 1980s, companies like Texas Instruments and Amcor Technology set up operations in the Philippines because of its skilled workforce and strategic location. What started as small assembly plants has grown into a massive ecosystem of engineers, technicians, suppliers, and exporters. Today, semiconductors and electronics account for almost 60% of the country's total exports. That means every time a global tech company ships a device, there is a good chance a part of it came from Filipino hands. So what caused the sudden boom in recent years? Three major factors came together at just the right time: global shortages, regional shifts, and national investment. First, the pandemic disrupted global supply chains. Factories in China, Taiwan, and the United States faced shutdowns which led to a global chip shortage. Automakers, smartphone brands, and even defense contractors scrambled to find alternative suppliers. Second, tensions between major powers pushed many companies to diversify production away from single-country dependency. The Philippines became an attractive alternative because it was politically stable, close to major shipping routes, and already experienced in semiconductor work. Third, the Philippine government and private sector saw this opportunity and began investing heavily in infrastructure, workforce training, and incentives for tech investors. What was once a background industry suddenly became a centerpiece of national strategy. Walk into one of the high-tech semiconductor plants in Laguna, Clark, or Cebu, and you enter another world. Workers in full-body clean suits move carefully between machines that can etch circuits thousands of times thinner than a strand of hair. Temperature, humidity, and air quality are controlled with extreme precision. Even a single dust particle can destroy an entire batch of chips. Filipino engineers operate with calm focus. Many of them have spent years in technical schools or have trained abroad before returning home. Their skill level has earned international respect. One engineer described it this way: "We may not make the biggest headlines, but we make the chips that keep the world running." That quiet pride defines this industry. It is technical, exacting, and essential. The world has started to notice. Major semiconductor companies are expanding or setting up new facilities in the Philippines. Texas Instruments recently poured hundreds of millions into upgrading its Baguio and Clark operations. Amcor Technology built one of its largest global packaging facilities in the country. Japanese, South Korean, and European firms are also investing, attracted by the Philippines' English-speaking workforce and its improving digital infrastructure. Export processing zones in Laguna, Cavite, and Batangas are buzzing with construction as new labs, warehouses, and training centers rise. The semiconductor sector now employs more than 300,000 Filipinos, and the number continues to grow every year. The Philippine government understands that this boom is not just a short-term trend, but a long-term opportunity. Through agencies like the Board of Investments, it has created programs to attract new manufacturers, streamline customs processes, and encourage local component suppliers. Tax incentives and free trade agreements have made it easier for companies to operate, while public-private partnerships are helping fund research and development. In 2025, new legislation supporting microelectronics innovation centers was introduced to help universities and small firms join the value chain. The goal is to move the Philippines beyond packaging and into higher value areas such as design and testing. If successful, this could push the country into the same league as Malaysia and Singapore in advanced electronics. At the center of this progress are people. The Philippines produces tens of thousands of engineering graduates each year. They are known for being adaptable, precise, and fluent in both technical and business communication. What sets them apart is not only skill but mindset. Filipino engineers are known for resourcefulness. They find ways to fix problems even when equipment is limited. That innovative thinking is becoming a major competitive edge in a world that values efficiency. Moreover, the country's culture of hospitality translates well into teamwork. In industries where collaboration is critical, Filipino professionals excel at maintaining harmony, mentoring younger staff, and working across cultures. This blend of technical ability and emotional intelligence makes the Filipino workforce one of the most trusted in Asia's technology sector. Universities and polytechnic institutes are now stepping up to meet the growing demand. Schools such as the University of the Philippines, Mapua University, and De La Salle are partnering with tech companies to develop specialized programs in microelectronics, robotics, and semiconductor physics. New regional innovation hubs in Clark and Davao are connecting students with mentors and engineers from global firms. This creates a direct pipeline from classroom to industry, ensuring that graduates are ready for complex manufacturing environments. In the long run, this focus on education will help the Philippines move higher up the global tech value chain. The semiconductor industry is energy-intensive, but Filipino companies are already leading in sustainability efforts. Several large facilities now run partially on solar power and recycle over 80% of their water. Environmental compliance standards in the Philippines have improved dramatically, and many companies are certified under international eco-efficiency frameworks. This aligns perfectly with the global push for greener electronics and responsible production. As technology companies commit to carbon neutrality, they are choosing partners who share those values. The Philippines' approach to clean, responsible manufacturing has strengthened its reputation among environmentally conscious investors. Of course, no industry is without challenges. Infrastructure gaps, energy costs, and global competition remain real issues. The country must continue upgrading power reliability, internet connectivity, and logistics networks to stay competitive. Another challenge is retaining top talent. Because Filipino engineers are in such high demand worldwide, many are recruited by foreign firms. The government and private sector are now exploring better pay scales and research opportunities to encourage talent to stay. There is also a need to protect the industry from external shocks, such as trade restrictions or regional instability. But with the growing diversification of global supply chains, the Philippines' balanced relationships with multiple partners could provide stability. If you own a phone, a computer, or even a car built in the last few years, there is a strong chance that some of its components were handled, tested, or packaged in the Philippines. Every small circuit tells a bigger story of skill, patience, and dedication. Behind every microchip are Filipino workers who understand that precision is power. These contributions rarely make global headlines, but they ripple across the world, powering hospitals, data centers, and satellites. It is a quiet kind of heroism, one that defines a nation's growing role in the digital age. The next chapter looks even brighter. With new trade partnerships, innovation centers, and renewable energy programs, the Philippines is setting its sights on becoming the semiconductor capital of Southeast Asia. Analysts predict that within the next decade, the industry could exceed $50 billion in annual exports. That would make it one of the largest contributors to national GDP and one of the key engines of economic growth. More importantly, it positions the country as a trusted player in maintaining the world's technological stability. As digital systems grow more complex, nations are realizing that trust, transparency, and talent matter as much as capacity. The Philippines has all three. The semiconductor boom is not just about machines and factories, it is about people. It is about a country that once supplied the world with labor, now supplying it with intelligence, precision, and innovation. It is a quiet transformation built not on slogans but on skill, not on size, but on reliability. The Philippines has found its place in the global digital map, not by chance, but by persistence. Every chip that leaves its shores carries a small piece of that persistence. A reminder that progress does not always come from the loudest voices, but from the most consistent ones. That is the true story of the Philippines' billion-dollar semiconductor boom, a story of vision, resilience, and brilliance in the smallest of spaces.